You keep hearing that Elon Musk just announced the biggest chip fab in human history, a $119 billion AI factory in Texas that's going to crush TSMC, save Intel, and power every Tesla, robot, and satellite he ever builds. And honestly, most of what you're reading about it is wrong. I went through every official filing, every earnings call, every Reuters report and county document on Terafab, and the real story is way more interesting than the hype. Because Terafab is absolutely real, but it's also nowhere near what people think it is.
Welcome back to bitbiased.ai, where we do the research so you don't have to. Join our community of AI enthusiasts with our free weekly newsletter. Click the link in the description below to subscribe. You will get the key AI news, tools, and learning resources to stay ahead.
So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what Terafab is, what's actually confirmed on paper, what's still just a Musk tweet, why Intel suddenly matters more than anyone realized, and what this whole thing means for American AI, from the Texas Hill Country all the way to Washington. By the end, you'll know more about Terafab than 90% of the people talking about it online. Let's get into it. What Terafab actually is. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Terafab isn't just a chip factory. It's Musk's attempt to do something almost nobody outside of the established foundry giants has tried in decades: vertically integrate the entire semiconductor stack under one roof. And when I say entire, I mean it. Tesla's own Q1 2026 update spells it out. They want to combine logic, memory, and advanced packaging in a single facility. The Terafab job listings go even further, describing a site that would house logic, memory, packaging, test, and even lithography mass production all in one place. That last detail is the one most people miss, and it's the most revealing. Because what Tesla is really describing isn't just a fab, it's a compressed iteration loop. Design a chip, update the mask, run it, test it, learn, fix it, run again, faster than the entire industry currently can. Think of it like the difference between a restaurant that orders ingredients from 12 different suppliers and a restaurant that owns the farm, the mill, the dairy, and the kitchen. One is normal. The other is what Musk is trying to build, to where the idea came from. But here's where it gets interesting. This didn't just appear out of nowhere in March 2026. The seed was planted way earlier. Back at Tesla's 2025 annual meeting, Musk casually told shareholders that Tesla might have to build, quote, a gigantic chip fab, because even the best case output from their suppliers wouldn't be enough for what's coming. People kind of brushed it off at the time. Then in March 2026, he said Terafab would launch in 7 days. And just over a week later, Reuters confirmed that SpaceX and Tesla were planning 2 advanced chip factories in the Austin area, one for Tesla vehicles and Optimus, and one designed specifically for AI data centers in space. Yeah, I said space. We'll come back to that. The reveal moment wasn't the beginning. It was the moment the idea graduated from Tesla needs more chips into something much bigger. A semiconductor industrial platform spanning Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI, all in Texas. Why Musk thinks he needs this. And to be fair to him, the internal demand case is not made up. This is actually the part that surprised me the most when I dug in. Tesla is building chips for FSD and Optimus. That's full self-driving and the humanoid robot. Their AI page is explicit that custom inference hardware is the only way they get to general autonomy and embodied AI at scale. Tesla's Q4 2025 update says the next chip, AI5, is targeted for 2027 production, and AI6 for 2028. AI5 is supposed to be roughly 50 times more powerful than AI4, 10 times the raw compute, 9 times the memory, 5 times better on hardened, low-precision blocks. That's not an incremental upgrade. That's a generational leap. Then on the xAI side, things get genuinely wild. The official Colossus page says xAI has already doubled to 200,000 GPUs and is on a roadmap to 1 million GPUs. The Memphis page says they're planning to hit 1 million GPUs at that site by 2026. SpaceX is hiring for advanced packaging, silicon process manufacturing, RF silicon, wafer-level packaging, the whole stack. So you've got cars, robots, language models, satellites, and secure government comms all pulling on the same chip supply. When you add it all up, the demand isn't speculative. It's real, it's massive, and it's getting bigger every quarter. The reality check nobody wants to hear. Okay, but here's where I have to slow you down. Because the rhetoric around Terafab and the actual paperwork are two very different things. The most reliable, on-the-record fact about Terafab today isn't some $100 billion moonshot. It's this. On Tesla's April 2026 earnings call, Musk himself described the immediate next step as a roughly $3 billion research fab at Giga Texas. Capacity? Maybe a few thousand wafers per month. Purpose? Mainly to, in his own words, try out ideas. Tesla's Q1 materials even show a research fab groundbreaking image. So yes, dirt is being moved. This is not vaporware. But notice what just happened. We went from biggest chip factory in the world, in the headlines, to $3 billion R&D pilot in the actual filings. Both are true. They're just describing very different time frames. The pilot is here now. The empire is a hope. And honestly, that might be the smart move, because the hard part of advanced semiconductors isn't owning a wafer line. It's integrating process development, yield learning, packaging, test, software, power delivery, and memory interfaces fast enough to actually make products. Tesla's job listings tell you everything. They're hiring CMP engineers, metrology engineers, dry etch specialists, automation controls. That's not a marketing team. That's a team recruiting for the gritty middle of semiconductor reality. The Intel angle, this is where it gets big. Now let's talk about Intel, because this is the part of the story that should make every American AI investor sit up straight. Reuters reported that Musk plans to use Intel's 14A process for Terafab's eventual production ambitions. And Intel's own foundry documentation backs up just how big a deal that is. 14A is a next-generation node built around RibbonFET 2, power direct backside power delivery, turbo cells, and high-NA EUV lithography. Intel says it should deliver 15 to 20% better performance per watt, 30% higher density, and up to 35% lower power at the same performance compared to Intel 18A. If Terafab actually becomes Intel 14A's first major customer, that is not just a Musk win. That is a massive validation event for Intel Foundry, at the exact moment when Intel is fighting to prove the foundry model can work for them at all. And by extension, it's a win for the entire American effort to rebuild cutting-edge domestic manufacturing. But, and this is a big but, Intel is also the project's biggest near-term technology risk. Why? Because 14A is still previewing. It's not a settled, fully ramped, globally proven production node like TSMC's established advanced lines. So Terafab's most ambitious form depends on two genuinely hard things happening together. Intel ramping 14A successfully, and Musk scaling a volume fab program around it. Either one alone is hard. Doing both at the same time? That's the double risk stack. The hidden battle nobody talks about. Here's the part that almost every casual coverage of Terafab completely misses. And it's actually the most important part. The real fight in modern semiconductors isn't just at lithography. It's at packaging. Stay with me on this. Intel's foundry materials lean hard into EMIB, Foveros, 3.5D stacking, advanced test, chiplet integration. TSMC is scrambling to double CoWoS capacity because every AI product needs a massive package that combines logic with memory. CoWoS shortages are literally the reason NVIDIA has been supply constrained. What does this tell us? In the age of AI, the contest is no longer just about who can print the smallest transistor. It's about who can integrate compute, memory, interconnect, and yield into manufacturable systems. That's the real bottleneck. And Terafab's pitch makes a lot more sense once you see it as an attempt to own that entire integration problem, not just the wafer. This, by the way, is the part I want you to remember when people argue about Terafab in the comments. The transistor war is yesterday's war. The packaging war is today's, putting the hype next to reality. Let's zoom out and do some honest math, because this is where the conversation usually gets distorted. TSMC's official capacity page says their manufacturing network exceeded 17 million 12-inch equivalent wafers in 2025. If Terafab ever reached the biggest public number attached to it, 1 million wafer starts per month, that would equal roughly 71% of TSMC's entire global network on a monthly basis. Let that sit for a second. That's why some people hear Terafab and immediately think moonshot. And it's also why other people hear it and think, absolutely no chance, this is a fantasy. And here's the thing, both reactions are actually understandable, because both are partially right. Location money and the Texas factor. What pushes Terafab from talk into something genuinely serious is the Grimes County, Texas paperwork. This is the part that makes it real. The official public hearing notice says SpaceX is seeking a tax abatement arrangement for what the document literally calls a multi-phase, vertically integrated semiconductor, manufacturing and advanced computing fabrication facility. It lists $55 billion for the initial phases, and $119 billion if all phases are eventually built out. Those are filed numbers, public record, real, even if you haircut those numbers by half, by 2/3, by 3/4. This is still one of the most aggressive semiconductor plays ever proposed in the United States. For context, Intel's Ohio site is over $28 billion. The Samsung Taylor package was over $40 billion. Terafab is in a different league of ambition entirely. The national security layer. There's a national security dimension here that a lot of business coverage glosses over. And I think it's actually one of the most important threads. SpaceX's Starshield business, that's their defense and government satellite arm, is openly tied to secure communications for the US government. The Commerce Department's BIS office has been tightening export controls on advanced computing chips and semiconductor manufacturing equipment. The CHIPS Act has put $50 billion on the table specifically to revitalize domestic semiconductor production. So when Reuters reports that one of Terafab's chip lines is designed specifically for space AI systems with harsh thermal tolerances, you're not just reading a business story anymore. You're reading a strategic technology story. If Terafab actually grows into a real volume producer of advanced AI silicon for satellites, robotics, and secure systems, it doesn't just become a Musk company. It becomes part of the American strategic technology perimeter. That's a different kind of project entirely. Answer the power problem. But before you get too excited, there's a hard physical constraint we have to talk about. Electricity. The Department of Energy says U.S. data center electricity demand has tripled over the last decade and could double or triple again by 2028. EPRI projects that data centers alone could consume 9 to 17% of all U.S. electricity by 2030. And Musk has publicly suggested that full-scale Terafab would need over 10 gigawatts of power on its own. 10 gigawatts. That's roughly the entire output of 10 large nuclear reactors, just for one industrial complex. So here's the deeper message. And this is the takeaway I want you to walk away with. The AI race is no longer a model race. It's a race for chips, power, land, utilities, packaging capacity, and skilled engineering labor all at once. Terafab sits right at the crossroads of every single one of those constraints. Who wins if this works? Alright, so let's play out the scenarios. If Terafab actually progresses, even partially, who wins? The biggest obvious winner is Intel. A Musk-scale anchor customer is exactly the validation event Intel Foundry has been begging the market for. After Intel, the next winners are the tool vendors: ASML, Applied Materials, Lam Research, Tokyo Electron, KLA. Those companies sell the picks and shovels of every advanced fab on Earth. Then there's the US packaging ecosystem, which Washington has been actively trying to rebuild with the $1,400 million Commerce and NIST committed to next-generation domestic advanced packaging. And finally, Texas itself wins big as an industrial AI hub. What about TSMC and Samsung? Honestly, in the near term, probably fine. Musk's companies still need them, but over time, they could lose some Musk ecosystem share at the margin. And notice I said at the margin. I do not think Terafab is going to overnight replace TSMC or Samsung. That's not a realistic story. The more realistic story is that Terafab becomes a strategic wedge, a captive silicon platform that grows from there. We're my honest base case. So what's my actual base case? Here's where I'll give you my real take. I don't think Musk is going to build a new TSMC in one shot. I think Terafab becomes a serious US pilot, prototyping, and advanced packaging program with selective captive production and an outsized influence on American semiconductor strategy. In other words, even if Terafab never hits the wildest numbers attached to it, it can still succeed by changing the US AI and semiconductor map, especially for robotics, autonomy, and secure space systems. The best case is bigger. The best case is that by the late 2020s, America actually ends up with something genuinely new. A domestic integrated AI silicon stack that combines front-end process, packaging, test, internal compute demand, and deployment across cars, robots, satellites, and data centers. That would be a fundamentally different kind of AI moat than just we trained the best model last quarter. That's an industrial moat. Those last. The worst case is more honest and probably more familiar. Cash gets burned. Intel 14A slips. Packaging and memory remain binding constraints. Power and permitting drag on. Musk's companies keep buying most of their critical silicon from existing partners, and the internal fab stays at pilot scale. Even in that scenario, America still ends up with useful pilot infrastructure, just not the giant leap some people are projecting. Down to the one-sentence takeaway. Here's the sentence I want you to leave with. Terafab is real enough to matter, but still early enough to misunderstand. If you call it a finished megafab, you're overstating it. If you call it fake, you're missing the very real factory. Hiring spree, county filings, chip roadmap, and Intel partnership that are already on the table. The smartest way to read Terafab right now is as a serious opening move in a much larger contest over who controls the physical infrastructure of AI in America. Not the model layer, the infrastructure layer. The chips, the packaging, the power, the test, the manufacturing know-how, all of it. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment with your honest answer to this question. Is Terafab the start of an American AI industrial moonshot, or is it Musk overreaching into the hardest manufacturing problem on Earth? Both takes are defensible. I genuinely want to know which side you land on. And if you want more deep dives on semiconductors, AI infrastructure, and the power politics behind the AI race, because this is exactly where the next phase of the story is unfolding, hit subscribe. There's a lot more coming. I'll catch you in the next one.